In the beginning of episode 1, Sergeant James Dokes immediately senses something is off about Dexter Morgan. While he doesn't explicitly think Dexter of being a serial killer at this point, his gut instinct tells him to not trust Dexter, telling him, "You give me the creeps."
You give me the fucking creeps, you know that, Dexter?
This moment would foreshadow the many characters that would grow suspicious of Dexter throughout the entire series. So how does Dexter never get caught in 8 seasons and 96 episodes? Well, let's talk about it. The amount of people that knew Dexter was a serial killer only grew after Dokes caught his initial suspicions. It would only be fitting to start the video by naming off the main characters that knew who Dexter really was. Brian Moser, Lila, Miguel Prada, Trinity, Lumen, Jordan Chase, Hannah, Maria LaGuerta, Zach Hamilton, Dr. Vogel, Isaac Serco, Oliver Saxton, and Deborah and Harrison Morgan. There are even theories that other characters such as Special Agent Lundy and Detective Quinn knew that Dexter was a serial killer all along, but for undisclosed reasons just let it happen.
It's obviously self-defense.
This is something we will discuss about later in the video, but these are just 15 characters that were close to Dexter and knew he was a killer for several episodes, even seasons. However, Dexter managing to not get caught in the entire series is something I believe is worth breaking down, so I've decided to name my top 3 reasons on why I think Dexter never gets caught. Starting off with number 1 should be obvious, and that is Harry's Code, because if you know the very first rule, that is to never get caught. And though while he certainly is found out to be a killer by many people, there is never anything that can link him to the kills, which is why Harry's Code is so important. The fact that this is the first rule given to a serial killer ensures that he never acts impulsively and instead is very methodical and disciplined in his conduct. He very well prioritizes self-preservation over self-satisfaction, which is a huge part of his character, and after 8 seasons of Dexter, there was never enough evidence, DNA, or witnesses for his murders. Next, for my second reason on how Dexter never gets caught is his job as a blood splatter analyst for the Miami Metro Police Department. Dexter, being in his role, is able to leverage his job to stay ahead of police investigations, manipulate crime scenes, and gain easy insight to his next potential targets. Nearly every single case that Miami Metro works goes through Dexter himself, as he plays a very crucial role in solving crimes. He is basically on site for every major crime scene and is in charge of determining the cause of death based on blood splatter analysis. He has gained a pristine reputation of flawlessly performing his job and has a high success rate of leading his team closer to cracking the case. This type of trust that Dexter has gained quite literally keeps his friends close and his enemies closer. Essentially, he is in the perfect position to live a double life in plain sight as someone who works for the police department, because someone that does their job as well as Dexter does is of least expected to be a serial killer. That's why I still can't believe that Dokes was the Bay Harbor Butcher. But lastly, for my third reason on how Dexter managed to never get caught is a more complex reason, and it's called the greater good mentality. Basically, this theory is a moral framework in which actions are justified based on the idea that they will lead to the best outcome for the majority of people. Even if the means to achieve that outcome may involve morally questionable or harmful actions, it is still widely acceptable by the general population. So drawing back to Agent Lundy and Detective Quinn, for example, who were rumored to know about Dexter, this theory works perfectly, because Dexter's code ensures that his targets are criminals who have escaped the flawed legal system, and his actions prevent further harm to society, which I believe characters like Lundy and Quinn realize but never openly discuss. For all they are concerned, justice is being served to bad people, and there is once again no evidence for their disappearance. If the greater good mentality can't be applied to every character, I believe other factors can be applied. Captain LaGuerta, for example, had many opportunities to pursue Dexter, but instead had a fear of exposure. She showcased both personal and professional reasons to not pursue Dexter relentlessly, and was more concerned with maintaining her power and career. In conclusion, Dexter Morgan's ability to avoid capture throughout the series can be attributed to 3 main factors. The first being Harry's Code, which is a set of strict rules that Dexter follows to ensure that he operates carefully. The first rule of never getting caught particularly highlights his difference compared to other serial killers who often let their emotions result in impulse. But in Dexter's case, he prioritizes his personal security above the joy of killing. The next piece of the puzzle that makes Dexter even harder to catch is his job at Miami Metro, which allows him to blend in and be 2 steps ahead of investigations, influence crime scenes, and gain crucial crucial insight to his victims, all while maintaining an impeccable professional reputation to his peers. And finally, the greater good mentality, which plays a special role in how characters like Agent Lundy, Detective Quinn, and even LaGuerta might have turned a blind eye to Dexter's actions, seeing his vigilante justice as serving the larger benefit of society. These elements, combined with the lack of direct evidence and DNA traces, help explain why Dexter manages to avoid being caught after 8 seasons, despite multiple characters knowing the real truth. But yeah guys, these are my 3 reasons for how I believe Dexter never gets caught. Feel free to comment below your theories and ideas, and I would love to hear new video suggestions from you guys as well. But until next time, tonight's the night.